First of all, thank you all for joining and taking valuable time out of your day. Today, we're going to hear from our junk experts about 5 work ease tools that you can use to maximize your junk removal business. So we have some awesome guests here. If we can get some chat going, say hi, say where you're from, just so I know that I can hear you guys, or that you can see me and hear me. Tell us where you're from too. I'm giving another 30 seconds before we jump into it. I see Holly's typing something there. We also have some awesome emojis if you want to use the emojis. Hi, Holly. Hi, Jared. San Antonio, Detroit, Baltimore. Nice. All right, so I'm going to move forward. We have a good packed agenda today. We're going to do some brief introductions first so you can actually meet who is going to be helping you guys today. And then we'll go ahead and we're going to give 5 tips on how you can get more out of your junk removal business. And then we'll go into a short Q&A. So if you have questions, like save them to the end. We will, though, answer throughout. So it is best to keep it to the end, but please engage, give us questions that we can answer as we go. I'm going to pass it over to our speakers today, but first David and then Mitch, if you can go ahead. Tell us who you are.
Hey guys, David Clark from Workies. I am currently the enablement manager here at Workies. Been working in the junk removal space for about 4 years now, talking to thousands of different junk removal companies, helping them boost their business. Mitch was formerly one of my accounts, and I've actually seen a few familiar names here, so hello again.
Hey everyone, my name is Mitch Harrison. I am the owner of Junk Masters in Minneapolis, or Twin Cities, Minnesota. So yeah, here I am. Love working with Workies. They have a great product, and always innovating and coming up with new great ideas to make it simpler and easier to use and make our business more profitable at the end of the day.
Thanks, Mitch. Quick question: how did you get into junk removal?
Well, I worked for someone for 16 years and realized that I was taking notes all along the way and how not to treat your employees and how to treat your employees. And then, I drove a wrecker, hauling semis and garbage trucks and doing recoveries. And one day I just decided, it's time to make a change, and did some research into the junk removal industry, found a little niche in my market for, local company that doesn't really exist around here to the size and magnitude that we are, and started there in 2017.
Awesome. And David, you've been at Workies for 4 years. We like to say you're kind of like the expert at everything junk removal. How did you become the expert?
Honestly, listening to my customers, listening to how they operate on their day-to-day, thinking outside of the box, putting myself in their shoes and thinking to myself every single day, if I had a junk removal company, how would I do it? And then sharing some of those ideas and seeing them come to fruition.
Awesome. Thanks for the background, David and Mitch. I'm going to move on here. So if you're going to take 3 things out of today's discussion, these are the 3 things I want you to take out of today. A, we want to help you win more jobs. B, we're going to show you how you can increase your technician pay in the field. And then C, how you can save time. So we have 5 tips here we're going to go over. And again, please feel free to ask any clarifying questions, any questions for Mitch, any questions for David, for me. But I'm going to pass this off to David. The first tip we're going to discuss here is how to optimize your online booking tool for your junk removal business so you can win more jobs. So David, why don't you go ahead and talk about this?
Absolutely. Thank you, Wes. So first tip of the day, of course, is online booking. Simply put, if you're in junk removal, you need online booking. This is how the majority of the customers in the space are booking. It's going to make sure that you're getting more jobs, period. It's one more advertising tool. It makes it easier for your customers to be able to book with you rather than having to wait in long phone queues or trying to even find your phone number in today's day and age. The form itself is customizable, tracked by source, and you can use it to create QR codes. So I'm going to share my screen with you folks here and show you here what our online booking form looks like. This is a junk removal online booking form for somebody who offers dumpsters as well. Right here at the beginning, we can say that we want a half load. When do we want the job? And fill out the form. The questions at the bottom are completely customizable. So it's not a one-size-fits-all form. You ask the questions that are relevant based on your business. This booking link can be put anywhere. Anywhere where your logo is printed or anywhere where your logo is online and a customer can click something, you can easily attribute back to your booking link. All you have to do is add a little code. Now we have a link for Facebook. We need one for a business card. Let's use Mitch for example here. Instead of business card, we're going to do business card Mitch. We're going to take that QR code or that link, go to a QR code generator. And now Mitch has a new QR code for his business cards. When his customers scan it with their phone, it opens the booking link and he'll know exactly where that booking link came from. Very simple to do. Advertising on social media, use a Bitly. Bitly makes long links short. Later on, we're going to be talking about data, and you'll get to see even more of the benefits on why you need to not only offer online booking, but track your sources by specific links. It's very easy to set up, and the payoff is exponential. Online booking can or cannot include those items. It's up to you. This form is super customizable to your business needs. But overall, we've seen time and time again, customers who offer online booking see about a 25 to 30% increase in business. And that's
I have a question about online booking for Mitch here. I think you have a pretty good use case on how you use the links for the online booking tool. If you want to kind of tell the audience how you're doing that.
Yeah. So obviously, on our website, we have a link where we can people can schedule online. Some of our social media also has the same thing. Book a job now. And one thing that we use a lot of is people are always calling or not calling, but texting, wanting quotes. And at the end of the conversation, if it turns into a job, the last thing you want to do is type out, okay, can I have your name, address, phone number? How'd you hear about us? That's just a lot of information. So what we do is we've created a link that we can, we just have a short code on our phone. Just type in our short code, sends them a link, just say, hey, can you fill out the form on the link we just provided? And then they'll fill out all their information, even provide the ad, the source as to, like David was talking about, how did they hear about us? And then that drops right into Workies, and we can kind of like what he's looking at there, just add a job and pick a job, and then add it in there once we select time with the client, and then we're good to go.
Sorry. Go ahead, David.
Oh, just giving visuals along the way as Mitch was describing his experience.
Yeah. No, it's made things a lot easier, a lot more efficient. There's no miscommunication. If the client enters in the wrong phone number, unfortunately, that was on them. You didn't enter it in wrong, which it does happen, or the wrong email. And then, we get them on the schedule right away, and once we submit the job, they get their confirmation of the job, and then we schedule a truck team and go out and take care of the job.
We got a question in the chat from Ronald. I think he's asking about the code that you put in the either QR or URL. If you can repeat what you just showed. You're muted.
Absolutely, because this is one of my favorite things to see junk removal companies do. So you'll take your online booking link, you'll just go back to your online booking settings, and right up here where there's the copy URL link, that gives you your booking link. From there, you can just paste it in a new tab and add the following code. And add _group equals, and then the ad source. So whether that's Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, any of your social medias, or if it's a yard sign, a door hanger, the side of your truck, a coffee mug.
Yeah, it really is a great tool that our junk pros should be utilizing to its full capabilities. I think this is a good segue to probably our next topic, which is going to be when we're talking about collecting tips. So this is a relatively newer feature that Workies has. And really, this is one of the main reasons why we wanted Mitch to talk today about the tips piece. So I'm going to start to turn it over to Mitch. If you can start to talk about like how tips have changed your business and why collecting tips is so important. You're muted.
Sorry, guys are making noise in the background. So going on to tips. All right. If you want, keep your employees happy, reward them for a great job that they're doing. We all know that when we go out on site, the customer is always going to ask, not always, but from time to time again, for us anyways, they would ask, hey, how can I leave a tip? And most of the time in the past, we weren't able to do it. We're like, I'm sorry, we don't have a way to do it. They're like, well, we don't have cash. I'm sorry. Workies came up with this whole tipping system on their, on the Workies pay, and it's been phenomenal. Our teams are getting tips left and right, almost every job. To give you an example, since January 1st to today, $34,451 has been paid out to our team members in tips. I do have currently 11 team members, so you can do the math on that, and it's a significant part of their wage. So it's been a huge help in boosting team morale. They're feeling great because they're making more money, and jobs are getting done more efficiently. Clients are happy. It's a win-win for everybody, your business, and it's amazing.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mitch. It's been cool to see with our junk removal customers really how impactful the tips have been. A lot of the time we've seen technicians double the amount of tips and companies double the amount of tips because of Workies pay. David, I want to pass it off to you here to see if you had anything to add on tipping, because you've been a really long-term advocate of this in our platform.
Oh, yes, absolutely. For some of you that already know me, know I come from a service-based background. I worked as a server and bartender for many years, so tips are critical for me. When we talk about the increase of tips, this is on top of those cash tips that you are getting, because you are going to get people like me who are always going to tip cash regardless, but there's a lot of people who just don't have that cash on them that still want to leave a tip. You got to open the door for them on this. For a long time, I have advocated that we be offering higher tip percentages. In fact, I am pleased to announce that as of recently, Workies just made an update to the software, allowing any of our Workies paid customers to set their own tip percentage amounts. I called Mitch right afterwards and said, bro, bump them up 5%. I bet you'll get more, because happy customers do tip more. A happy customer is much more inclined to pick the highest button that they see. They're probably not going to go custom to give you even more. They're just going to go with the biggest number they see. We make it very easy for your customers to leave tips. Not only can your technician collect payment right through the app, and as they're collecting the payment, they're going to see an option to leave a tip. There's also a way I've recommended for a very long time with our customers, especially in junk removal, on best practices on getting paid on the job while increasing tips. Follow along. When you're ready to get paid for that job that you're about to leave, just let your customer know, hey, I'm finishing up here. I'm going to start sweeping, cleaning up. I'm going to send you a link. That way you can just pay online. When they get that link, and we're going to see it here in just a moment, not only are they going to be able to make their payment or store their card on file, there's that giant tipping option right here. And I like to call this my coffee house method. You know how when you go to the coffee house and the barista just flips the screen around and walks away and there's that giant tip button there that you inevitably hit? Same mentality. Customers will see this, they're more inclined to tip. Cannot stress this enough. Adding tipping will increase how much your team members are making. As Mitch can attest to, this keeps his people happy.
They're averaging over $30 an hour right now with their base pay, plus their tips, gratuity. And that doesn't include cash or Venmo that they're getting from the client. I don't know what's going on there. So the sky's the limit at the end of the day, and he's right about the percentages. They're going to select the highest percentage. I mean, we're doing jobs over $1,000 and they're always hitting 20%. And my jaw drops. I'm like, oh, wow.
Makes you want to get back in the truck, eh?
I did for a few days, a week ago, and I made some pretty good tips. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, tipping has completely changed a lot of junk removal technicians that work for companies that do utilize our tipping. And we can't stress enough that you should be using tipping when you're using Workies, because again, it just keeps your employees more happy and it helps their bottom line. The third tip we're going to kind of go over here, and I'm going to have David talk about this in depth, but we have a really powerful automation tool. So we're always going to suggest from the Workies side, automate everything you can. So I'm going to pass it here to David, and he's going to talk more on the topic.
Absolutely. So you can kind of see here on the bulletin point, we've got 4 of our most common reasons on what you want to automate. One second, that little poll pop-up just blocked my screen. Returning customers, sending out automations 6 months, a year after the job is done, saying, hey, got more work for us, or we're running a special. You can use automations to follow up on unpaid invoices. You can use automations to collect your reviews. You can use automations to respond to your missed calls. So let me go ahead and show you. Here is our automation center. The main dashboard of it is a ton of pre-built automations that are absolutely fantastic. Our development and marketing job did a great job on creating them. I've never used a single one of them. Why? Because it's way more fun to build your own. And it's simple too. Let's start with the top one. The most popular one, actually not the top one, the third option. The most popular one, collecting reviews. Reviews are king in your industry. When a job has a status of done, send client a text, an email, a text and an email, totally up to you. Thanks for the work. Now leave us a 5-star review, please, at this website. And then you can just plug in the link of where you collect your review links. When should that go out? Some people want to send it out right away. Some people prefer the next day. We allow you to decide when this message goes out. Add conditions. Of course, we want to make sure we're getting good reviews. So we're going to make sure that this goes out only if the job was tagged, or rather not tagged, do not review. If you put a do not review tag up there, this message will not go out, meaning you're not going to farm out bad reviews from Karen. You're only going to send review links to the customers you want to send them to. Very simple to do. Add a tag, close a job, done. Or don't add a tag, send that review link, get more reviews. That's one example. Next one. When a call is missed, send client a text message. Simple. If a call gets missed, send them a text. Did you know you can book online 24/7? Redirect them back to your online booking link. Don't let them call somebody else because you didn't answer the phone. Keep that customer in your business. And of course, this can go out by specific phone numbers called or client tags, so on and so forth. So if it's a repeat customer, they're not constantly getting blasted with, did you know you can book online 24/7? Yep, sure did. If you do construction jobs and you're running net 14s, net 30s, when an invoice is past due, send client an email. Yo, pay yo bills. This goes out after 14 days of the due date, only if client tag is not VIP. We don't want to upset our VIPs. We'll create a whole new automation just for our VIPs with better verbiage for them. And then we're going to create an automation for our admin that tells them to follow up on unpaid invoices. Across the board, automations is going to notify everybody. And then the last commonly used automation is obviously when a job is a status of done, send client an email. Got more junk? Send a remarketing email. And this will go out after 1 year of the job ending, only if job tag is not do not review or client tag is do not book. Set your filters here. In a nutshell, automations is an extremely powerful tool that's all about making sure that the right people are getting the right message at the right time.
Thank you for that. David, what do you think, if you're going to pick one automation that everyone should be doing it, is it the reviews? Is it outstanding invoices? What do you think the single best automation is that people should be doing if they're not?
I got to pick two. Two are tied. Missed call, send them to your online booking link, review link. Reviews are so freaking important in the junk removal world, as we all know, that one's up there. But that phone call getting you more bookings is also more business. Both of those lead to more profits. I can't rank one higher than the other. You need both of them.
You know, that's actually a funny segue to our next topic here, which is answering the phone. So I'm going to pass it right back to you about why is it so important to make sure all your calls are answered somehow.
Missed calls are missed money. You're not answering the phone or getting back to your clients. You're throwing money away because they're not gonna hang around waiting to maybe hopefully hear back from you one day. They're gonna call somebody else. There are plenty of other junk removal companies out there. We've seen them. We see these guys with friggin' beat up truck and a trailer in the back. They're doing stuff real cheap. But when customers need junk removed, they'll take what they can get usually. Of course, everyone wants the best experience, but they'll take what they can get when they need it. So it's all about making sure you're the first one to grab that job. Harkening back to my personal junk removal experience, I plugged in a lead through Yelp basically, and suddenly I had a bunch of junk removal companies reaching out to me. Honestly, I went with the first guy that gave me a quote after I sent him pictures. I sent about 3 of them pictures. He was the first one to get back to me and said he'd be here tomorrow. Done. It's all about responsiveness. There are forwarding services. If you do not have the bandwidth to take calls in-house, there are call services out there. One of our partners is JRA. They take calls. There's another partner of ours, Nexa. They take calls. There are answering services out there if you can't answer your own phones. Don't worry. As you see on point 4, calls are recorded. This is probably one of the most valuable features in the entire Workies platform is recording is just built in. There is no he said, she said. These calls are recorded and stored indefinitely. We're not putting storage caps on that data. So as long as you have a Workies account and you don't delete that call, please don't. As long as you don't delete it, it's going to be there for the lifetime of your account. You can send it to your customers if you wish to via email or text. Funny story, they'll rarely ever want it because they don't want to hear what they actually said. But the calls need to be answered. They need to be recorded. This is a huge, huge value point. Not only that, we do have call attributions. So when you're looking at your phone numbers, you can designate ad groups by specific phone numbers. That way, as you're adding jobs from these calls, you know exactly what sources are paying off. Call flows are extremely robust. I'm not going to get into all the technicalities of it, but I can tell you a call flow can be as simple as if you're open, they'll get a greeting, it'll forward to somebody, and if they don't answer, it'll go to voicemail. And if you're closed, it just goes to voicemail. Or as robust as, thank you for calling All American Junk Removal. For new appointments, please press 1. For existing, please press 2. If you know your party's extension, you may enter at any time. And this can be for open or closed. It can get very, very intricate to meet your needs. But at the end of the day, that call is going to be recorded and stored indefinitely. Most important part, though, is you got to answer your calls. Answer them in a timely manner. Make sure that you have top-tier people answering those calls. They're at the top of their game that know how to sell the job. It's not just about answering the phone. It's also selling the job while they're on the phone. And your call recordings are going to tell you how are they selling.
Yeah, and to further that, like if you're too busy or you're on a job, you can't answer the phone, maybe it's outside of your office hours, making sure someone is answering the phone, what David was saying earlier, whether it's a call center or someone on your staff, and understanding that they should be professional and know your business. We have some, as he mentioned, we have Junk Removal Authority, which I think Mitch also uses for his answering service. They will book jobs for you directly into Workies, and so they are trained up on that stuff. And like the cost of missing a job or missing a call is huge. So you got to make sure every call is answered.
I want to chime in too. On the call flows, we have our setup where if it isn't answered, which can happen from time to time, it will ring to multiple people at one time. Whoever grabs it's going to be the first one to get the call. And then if we don't grab it, it'll continue to ring to my phone. Most of the time it's a client that's calling, asking about the service, or their job that they have scheduled. So we just call them back. But yeah, the phone system is phenomenal. It really is nice. And yes, the recordings, we've used them to find things out that the customer said one thing that never was said. So, well, you told us this, and it's $200. No, we told you, we didn't tell you a price. So you can bring that back to them, and it's saved us in the past. So well worth it.
Yeah, huge advocate for it. If you can't tell, I strongly believe, and that's just touching the surface. I mean, we've got cool features that are exclusive to Workies, where you can hide the customer's number from your technician while still allowing them to talk to that customer. The call's still recorded, but that way they can't steal jobs on the side, start calling customers on their own, being like, how much are they charging you? Because I got my own truck and trailer, I'll do it for half the price.
Right. We also utilize that call masking feature.
Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorite features. That actually, Wes, if you want to switch to the next slide, to be honest, because it all ties back into.
All right. So the final tip we're going to leave you guys with today before we get into Q&A, if there are any questions, is going to be to know your data. I know Mitch and David can both speak on this pretty well. So David, if you want to start here, and then Mitch chime in about why understanding your data is essential.
To me, the most 4 key things that are impacting the junk removal world and your profits are the things as following. How are you advertising? What kind of jobs you're doing? How is your team doing? And how are the profits by area? That's kind of covering everything you guys are doing besides the actual work. You know what I mean? Workies gives you all of this data, frankly, pretty easily too. Most of it can be found on one single report. My favorite report, the job statistics report. Sorry. Right here from our job statistics report, we can look at the last 30 days, for example, and then filter by ad source. I know there's not a lot of good data here. Let me see if I can extend it out. This is a sandbox account. There we go. So we can see 200 from unknown, 4 from Google, how many were completed, how many are still open, what the cancellation rate was by ad source, what your average sale and average profits were by ad source. So when you're using that online booking trick we taught you earlier on, you're going to know very quickly which ad sources are bringing you in, not just the most bookings, but the most profitable bookings. You can spend your marketing a lot more efficiently when you know who's paying you back highest ROIs. Same report, different tab. You get to see all of this same data based on your team, and not just how each person's doing. You can get the data aggregated when they're grouped. So we can see how Jaden does, how Ryan does, and how do Jaden and Ryan work together? So as you're pairing your people, you can see if I put so-and-so with so-and-so, do profits go up or do time durations? Same report, next tab. Area performance. If you've set up service areas, you can see all of that same data again based on your service areas. You can also see it on a per city breakdown, or for anyone. Do what?
I want to chime in. That area performance we use significantly. It shows us which areas are profitable, which ones are not, which ones we need to send more marketing material to, and you know, where are we wasting our time, you know, if you will. What are the hot zones? That's the biggest thing, especially when it comes down to the city. Or more, I think the zip code would be the more realistic one.
Yep. And we also show you via zip code. So as much as there's so many uses of knowing your areas, tracking that profitability, cancellations, you know, yes, it might be a wealthy area that you get good $2,000 jobs out of from estate cleanouts, but half the time they end up getting canceled on the way to the job. Is it really that profitable? Dispatcher performance. Harkening back to the phone calls. Not only are you going to be able to review those calls to see how they're selling the jobs, the dispatcher is whoever created the job. So you're going to be able to see what is their close rates, how many of the jobs that they're booking end up getting canceled afterwards.
They have so if they have high cancellation rate, even though they're booking, there's a problem there.
Exactly. What are they offering these people that we can't deliver on?
Yeah.
And this is just the job statistics report. We start looking into some of the other reports, looking at your sales report, you're going to see profitability by job type. This is why I've stressed to many of you that have spoken to me before, a quarter load is not a job type. A quarter load is the amount of junk you're removing and or what you're billing them for. The job type is what kind of job was it? Was it an attic clean out, an estate clean out, a curbside pickup, a garage clean out? Get specific with what kind of job it is. That way you can report on that later and combine those job types with things like durations and profitabilities and teammates. How do certain team members do on particular job types? Maybe you've got a ninja who can do 8 quarter loads like it's nobody's business, but if you put him on a full truck, it's going to take him a full week because he's going to be calling his mom every 10 minutes and going for another smoke break, and then he's tired. So you can understand performance of your team by area, by all of these factors, as long as you're detailing out your job types. Don't just put quarter load, half load, 3/4 full load, mattress pickup. Knowing your data means to give us data too. The better data you're putting into this system, the better reports we're exporting out for you. Mitch, any other reports besides the tips report that you love?
I don't know if I love it, but the teams love it. The call tracking, that you didn't touch on that one. The call tracking, that one is phenomenal. As long as you're using specific numbers for certain ad groups, what you can see how many calls came in and the conversion rate. That is the most important. Are those calls converting? And if they're not converting, then maybe that ad source you're doing, say in a magazine, is a waste of money. And if they're converting, what's a percentage? And then, figure out your cost per conversion. Is it worth it or not? So we use that significantly look at it weekly, daily, actually, from time to time.
He's absolutely, yeah.
And the other report that we use quite often is the online booking count, so we know how many online bookings we've had. We use that, average roughly around 65 a month. So you guys are all, if you're not using online booking, you're could be missing, 60 to 100 jobs a month.
Yeah. Honestly, know your data. At this point, we're pretty much ready for Q&A.
Yeah, we have a few minutes for any questions that come up. There was one question before on the registration that we got, and it actually was something that Mitch, you touched on during the reporting section. But how do you reduce the percentage of cancellations, or how do you take that percentage down?
How do we do it?
Yeah, like what are some tips? Is potentially it could be through an automation, or like you do training, or how do you handle that?
First thing you got to figure out is why did they cancel? If their friend or family took it, you're not going to change that. If it was a price issue, you can certainly change that if you're willing to negotiate with your client. The other one is, are you late? Did you not communicate with your client that you're running late? That's a big one. If you don't communicate with your clients that you're running late, they're gonna cancel because they've been sitting there waiting for you for an hour past your arrival window, and they're going to find somebody to go with next. But the most important thing is figure out why they canceled. I mean, if it cancels, you need to call them right away if you're not there, or if your team's on site, they need to call you, the owner, or your manager, and figure out, why did this job cancel? Maybe your team did the job and maybe they put the money in their pocket and said it canceled. There's so many things that could have happened. You need to look into it. Don't just assume it canceled. That's my one tip for you. Or maybe like you said with the call masking, maybe they offered, hey, I got a pickup. I'll come back later and grab this free $100 versus, you paying us, $350 right now to take your items away, which I know has happened in the industry. I've got friends in the industry that it has happened to them, and it is not a good situation or a good feeling.
That's really good advice. We just got another question in the chat from Ronald, and he's asking Mitch, what percentage of your leads come from Google AdWords versus Google local services versus social media?
Well,
I guess maybe we can reframe it. Where do you see the most of, what is the breakdown of business you get, I guess? Obviously you probably can't give exact estimation, but roughly this would be good to talk about.
One thing I'll say is a significant portion of our business is repeat clients. And we track that. How many of our jobs are repeat? So for example, last 30 days, I don't know if it tells me percentages. Let me see here. I'd have to do a little calculation, but between online marketing and repeat clients, that is our bread and butter. So that's the one thing I'm going to tell you. Both ad sources he had mentioned, Google and local service ads are a great source. But by far the most important is your repeat clients. Because if you think about it, let's just say you get a client from Google Ads. Maybe it costs you, your cost per conversion is $75, $80. Maybe it's more, maybe it's $100. Here's the deal. You go out and you service that client, they're going to remember you and they're going to call you back next month or next week, or they told their friend about you. So between repeat clients and referrals, that is the biggest business. So now that job costs you $85 to get there, now the next job you did it reduces your initial investment to get that first client, if that makes sense. It's a recurring business that you're going to, gain on, and tracking that is very, if you don't track that, you might as well take your wallet and flush it down the toilet at the end of the day, because you just don't know where your money is going.
Do you run with the repeat customers, do you run promotions for them and stuff like that?
No, we should. We do have, actually, we do a unique thing. I don't want to get into the detail on it. But in our market, we do provide a unique service where we offer a discount to clients that we've been to before if we're kind of going to be near them. And that's, I would say, a good option to do for promotional, can't think of the word, a promotion you can run for them to continue to gain their service, if you will.
No, thank you for that. We did get one question in the question sections. I know we're at time, so we may not have time to answer this, but I'll pass it to David in case we do. Jared asked,
as I was about to say, Jared was asking, is there a way to create a lead journey, basically? So in Workies, a lead being a potential job, not a potential client. That's like marketing. In Workies, a lead is a potential job. Somebody's like, oh yeah, maybe you could come out next Tuesday and give me a quote. Okay, that's a potential job. That's not guaranteed. That's when you're going to want to create a lead. Leads convert into jobs, and I'll make this as quick as I can for you guys as I walk you through there. If you start with a lead, It's going to look just like your job form, and you can even create leads for old customers because it's a potential job for them. So you select your job type, your source, all that good stuff that you normally do. Beauty of the leads option, though, is you don't have to schedule a lead. Since you're not sure when it may happen, you can create it without a schedule. Jobs will happen, so you need a schedule. Leads, they may never get back to you. So in the event that the customer does move forward, you can schedule an appointment to go out and do a quote. You can come over to your estimates, add an estimate. Tell them it's going to be a half load. And if they want to do that, do I have it? Hot tub removal, it'll be an extra $225, and that's just optional if they want to add that on. They're going to send off the quote. Customer's going to get it. They're going to say, sure, I want hot tub removal too. They're going to sign. You can request a deposit if you want to, of course. And then once the estimate's been approved and you see it's been approved, that's your call to action to turn that lead into a job. Syncing your estimate with. Now, the benefit here is now you've got your job booked. All of the items from the quote are ready to go when you're ready to build a customer out. You don't have to build out your billing now. That original quote is still attached. So in case they try to get sneaky and throw a few mattresses out there and say, why did you charge me more for mattress? Because I told you this was just half load and hot tub. That's what we agreed upon. You've got your original record here. But hearkening to that journey part, when you go to your leads report, you're going to be able to see how many leads were created and then how many were converted to jobs. If you want to see your estimate conversion rates, this would basically be your estimate conversion rate. Estimates go with leads, so that way you can see how many of these are getting converted into jobs after you quote it. Or, frankly, how many of them were potential jobs, flaky customers that you eventually got convinced into it and got them actually booked into a job, however you want to look at that. And Jared, we can definitely have Kane follow up with you too and give you more kind of an in-depth view of what that history and journey will look like too.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
He had mentioned something about how do you, is there a way to have a reminder for a follow-up with a lead before it gets converted or estimated? What we do is we put a tag on it, and then our tag just says follow-up, and then we'll reschedule it like you said.
You can do tags, or you can set up automations based around leads.
Yep, or that too.
Automate everything.
Awesome. I think that is a good, unless you have anything else to show, David, I think that is a pretty good stopping point. So first of all, thank you, Mitch. Thank you, David, for taking time out of your day to help us today. And thank you all for coming to talk to us and listen in and asking great questions. If you guys have any parting words, David or Mitch, like the floor is yours. But from my end, I really appreciate everyone from joining. This recording is going to be available with your link that you use to log in forever. So you can rewatch it and use it as like a training guide to really optimize your Workies account. But yeah, I'm going to pass it to David and Mitch for any closing remarks.
Yeah, on my end, honestly, if you have any questions about anything we covered today, you want to learn more, chat in, reach out to your account manager. Our true goal here is to help you guys grow. We want you to become very successful big businesses and be a part of that journey with you. Don't be afraid to reach out to us with any questions you've got on how we can help improve your business.
like to add, they have one of the best. Workies is one of the best softwares. Dabbled around with different software companies out there, and resulted in going back and signing up with Workies. I've been with Workies now 3 years, maybe going on 4 years, and consistently. And I know I said at the beginning, consistently, constantly innovating, coming up with new ideas that are helping us as in the junk removal industry. They are tailoring their software for the junk removal industry. And obviously, they have provide service for other industries also. But I know they are working very hard to help make their software, mesh and flow with our business and your businesses to help you, create, be more efficient, make more money, and then eventually retire once you sell off and become a millionaire or billionaire.
So if I heard you right, Workies will make you a billionaire or a millionaire.
You got to, a billion, it's going to be a few years down the road. Millionaire could be a couple years. So
we've seen it happen many a times. Mitch, what was your goal when you first started? I think you told me years ago, you're like, I was hoping to do like 100K a year or something when you first started out. And that's long gone. If you did 100K a year now, you'd be irate.
We'd be selling equipment and assets and laying people off left and right if that happened. When I first started, my goal was if I can make $375 a day, I'll be happy. And let's just say we make more than that every day. And if that was a day like that, it would be a very bad day. So online booking, that is the most important. You guys need to use online booking. I don't care if it's through Workies or not, you're losing out on opportunities. Your competition is taking those jobs from you, 100%. If you don't believe me, start using online booking. You'll see your job bookings go through the roof. So.
Well, on that note, again, thank you all for joining. I'm going to go ahead and end the event. If you have any other questions or comments in the chat, I'll stick around for a minute or two and just ask those or answer those. But again, thank you, David. Thank you, Mitch, for joining. And until next time.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everyone. Guys. We'll see you.
Thanks.